Hello everyone, today I have great pleasure to speak with Anita Nevar. She's Australian pop erotic artist. Hi Anita, it's a great pleasure to have you in our group. How are you today?
Fantastic, thanks Edvard. Thanks for having me.
So Anita, I'm curious and think many people might be curious as well. Tell us a little bit more how you became pop erotic artist and what is your story?
Okay, so I've been an artist now for 20 years and I started in 2010, and originally I started because it was something I needed to do to heal from a traumatic experience. And it's been interesting, the journey, because while the first 10 years was for me, the next 10 years or the 10 years just gone has actually been something that's been very inspiring and something that I can give back and help other people with. So where my journey started is I was actually raised in a doomsday cult. And so that was the beginning of my first 20, 25 years of life. And I went through a lot of trauma in that time, a lot of oppression, domestic violence. And I suffered a lot of fear and shame, and I wasn't allowed to just be who I really was. So I was always wearing masks and especially sexually, we were very sexually repressed. So I escaped that environment when I was in my mid-20s. And at the time I had a couple of little daughters. They were only babies, and I didn't want them to experience the early life I did growing up. So I decided to run away with them under my arms. And when I went out into the world, and it was a world we'd been kept, segregated from. We were told everybody outside this cult was evil, and, the world was possessed by Satan. And, so it was quite scary for me, knowing nothing else really, and launching into this world where I knew no one and was still quite scared. But what I came to realize is that it was a beautiful place and it was so colourful out there. And, I started meeting amazing people and, inspiring artistic people. And I was always quite artistic from a young age. I used to love to colour in and, draw and make things. I was always like pottering around. Mum still talks about it, that I was always just so focused on creating. But as I got older, I was never allowed to really express that. So it was kind of a natural gravitation that when I was out in the world, I started to paint and create. And it was a really good medium for me to get all of this pain and trauma out, and things that I couldn't say in words, I could paint. So it was only natural, like the sexuality side of things, there was so much that needed to come out that it came out on the canvas. And that's been my life for the last, 20 years. Is actually the art saved me, I can say, but it's been this beautiful thing that I can now empower other people through that journey, that story, and now empower people to just be proud of who they are and celebrate sex positive diversity. That's what it's all about for me.
Thank you, Anita, for sharing your journey. So what wakes up you in the morning today? And what motivates you to keep doing what you are doing, and how you are serving your clients?
For me, getting up in the morning is I literally bounce out of bed now. I'm already in creative mode. And for me, when I put paint to canvas and when I'm speaking to people as well, it's about sharing the love. So I know that the colour that I bring to the world through my art inspires people. I know that my story empowers people. So it's really about making the world a brighter place. That's my motivation. And I have such joy in getting up and doing that every day.
And how you are helping your clients? Like, can you share a little bit more how that transformation might look in their case, since you already had 20 years of experience of
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't currently do like lessons or, mentoring or anything like that. My helping people is really them, they might come to, say, an art show, or that they might connect with me through social media. Some people might buy the art because it empowers them, to be proud of who they are. So when people I connect with people either in real life or, over social media. It's having conversations with them. And, if they're interested in doing art, yeah, by all means, we'll sit down and we'll chat about the tips and how they can do it. And I'll give them all of my tips and tricks so that I can get them excited to create as well. So for me, it's really just connecting with people, which is really the key.
Who are the people who are attracted with your art? What your art means for them? How your art changed their lives?
Because I'm in the sexuality space, I am a big supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. So, I do a lot of shows where I'll do Mardi Gras, Kink Festivals. I'll be involved with, LGBT charities. So really that I find they're the people that I can help and inspire a lot because, the LGBTQ community, they suffer a lot of fear and persecution and judgment. There's a lot of bias. And so when I'm interacting with them and I'm, when the art's out there and they're connecting with it, I guess in a way it empowers them to just be proud of who they are as well, and liberates them from the fears that they have. So when you see other people stepping out from their fear and trauma, that, it inspires the next person to do it as well. So yeah, definitely the queer community, that's probably, there's a lot of sexual repression in the world, regardless of whether it's queer community or not. But I find that that's where people do really connect and get the message.
So where is that pressure is coming from? How that impact people's lives? And how people can find that something which you found 20 years ago when you decided to live different life and actually celebrate your sexuality and celebrate that freedom and everything positive that can bring to your life. So share a little bit more about that kind of what you see, which is obvious we might struggle with, and how we can overcome that to find that courage which you found.
Where sexuality is concerned and being yourself, especially in queer communities, there's still hate crimes going on. It's still illegal in places to be yourself. And so there's a lot of masks being worn and people that just really can't be who they are because of either danger or fear. So, but yeah, look, I think that we have a lot of work to do with that as a society on acceptance of our differences, equality, inclusion, and not judging people, just love, be kind, just love people for who they are. So I feel, as the more people that stand up and say this is not okay, and we raise the vibration of inclusion and love, the better. It is hard to do, though. I find when I connect, especially on my social channels, when I'm, say, talking to people on Clubhouse or talking through my DMs, especially in areas where it's illegal to be yourself, there are major challenges. So for me in Australia, you can be yourself. I was held under cult oppression, but to launch into a world and be myself, I was able to find the way without, some serious, it is like I wouldn't go to jail for it, put it that way. Mm-hmm. So I think from my experience, it was just seeking out, knowing in my gut that something wasn't right, following that and following my heart and connecting with people that, which is where I wanted to be. So if I saw somebody, say, being themselves and proud and they could support me or give me guidance, I gravitated towards them. And so now having been through it, people will gravitate towards me. So I think it's just it's a heart soul thing. You've got to do as much fear as is in it. You've just got to make the jump.
What inspires you to create your art, to be super active? I saw your Instagram profile, your other channels you are using. It's super amazing. I encourage all people to do the same. So how did you find that motivation daily to produce art?
It's interesting being a creative, and I know other people will say this as well. We have periods where we're super creative, and then there's just nothing. So it's not 24/7 motivation. Yeah. So I just go with the flow now. I don't force it. If something appears to me and the light bulb goes on, I run with it. If I feel I need to take time out to just chill, go to the beach, reconnect, then more inspiration will come. So I kind of get into an ease and flow pattern. But more or less these days, I'm more motivated than anything. Like there'll be very rare down days. And it's just by having that fire in the belly and being so inspired and so in love with what's going on around me. So I think that self-love also has a lot to do with your motivation and where you're at creatively as well.
And Anita, last 1 year, the world changed quite a lot, like the relationship between people, social distance, mask, impact also like our behavior, I think also our sexuality. So how that was in your case?
Yeah, and it is like it's such a different world now where we were able to get out and about and do art exhibitions and meet people. Everything's gone online now. So I mean, it's awesome that we've got this digital technology to do it, to do everything virtually. It's sad that we don't get to see people in the flesh, face to face, but at least we have this. For me, 2020, I had big plans to actually go to America and exhibit there, and that just didn't happen. So I used it as a really good tool to sit in the studio, create more art. I'm writing a book, so I got stuck into that. So I just channeled that energy into other areas. And what I do now, keeping in touch with, say, fans or people that want to talk to me about the art, we just do it online. So I'll do private Zooms and I'll have a chat to them one-on-one, or we just connect virtually. And I think that's, judging from what, speaking to other artists and people in general, they're loving that because we actually have a lot more access. I don't have to jump on a plane now to go and see someone. I can just look at them on the screen and talk instantly. So there are definitely benefits. I don't look at it as a negative. It's just different.
Absolutely. And for the old people who are watching this interview and who would like to learn more about your art, what is the best way for them?
So I have my website, which is anitanevar.com, and that will have all of my artwork and gallery, all my news, what's coming up. And there's also a shop on there for anybody that wants to purchase art. And I've got all my social channels, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse. Anybody that wants to get on there and connect with me, that would be awesome. And I've got my newsletter as well. So on my website, you can actually sign up for free newsletters, and that keeps you up to date with everything that's happening.
Amazing. And we're going to share those links, guys, in the comments. So please check it out. And Anita, my last question is, since you are looking super healthy and happy, so what do you do daily? What kind of daily habits you have to keep yourself energized and healthy during this time of pandemic?
So I do a lot of reading. So I'm very big on every day having time out for myself. So I will read every day as something that stimulates my mind. And in Australia here, we aren't as affected by COVID as everywhere else. So we have the ability to actually get out and about. So I'll go down the beach every day. I'll have a swim. It's just things, listen to music. I always take that time for myself. And that's pretty much it. Get out in the sun. Get out and get that vitamin D.
Anita, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure to have an interview with you, and all guys who enjoyed in Anita's story. Please check it out, her profiles, and follow her on different social media platforms. Anita, thank you. It was amazing, and looking forward to see some of your artwork in 2021.
Thanks, Edvard. Thanks for having me.